Okay, okay, you're welcome. Good evening to the East African time. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're listening from. This is In Truth and in Spirit World of Worship Fellowship. We are a non-denominational fellowship. We welcome all believers, non-believers, pagans, agnostics, atheists, theists, deists, whatever and whoever you are. You're welcome. It is Thursday, the 20th of March, 2025. We normally have these online fellowships. We conduct them on Zoom. And on Monday, we have topical discussions from religious books, especially the Bible. Then on Thursday, we have, again, topical discussions from social life perspectives, of course, biased to our belief systems and our philosophies of understanding. So we are here twice every week, every Monday and every Thursday from 6 to 8. We therefore welcome anyone with a thought who would like to share with us their worldview, as long as they are willing to respond to the questions, challenges, criticism that will be fronted against their positions. Most of the positions here that we present are shaken. We are not conclusive in nature, but we are progressive learners. And we normally pray that we unlearn a few things which are shaken to the ground. So you're welcome. This is the place for everyone. Today we are looking at a topic that we would like to share with, and the title is How Should Spouses Handle Conflicts in Marriage? How should spouses handle conflicts in marriage? So the guiding questions of this discussion will be, how should who are spouses? It sounds obvious, but we will have to address that, because it is possible for people to be living together with actually a matrimonial certificate, but not spouses for that matter. We will need to define spouses, and I think spouses is a man and a woman who are in a loving relationship that is officially registered, that qualifies as marriage. So those are the ones that we are talking about. Then the other question will be, what are spousal conflicts? What kind of conflicts do spouses experience? What are the common causes of these conflicts? Then we'll also look at the question, is there a time to fight? And if there is, how are spouses to fight? Then what is the cost of these conflicts? And finally, we will wind up by responding to the question, how should spouses deal with these conflicts, especially Christians? So we have addressed the issue of who are spouses. Then we turn to the question of what are spousal conflicts. These conflicts could range from from the area of communication. They could be poor communication, and because one spouse has misunderstood the other, or the other spouse has actually miscommunicated, then there's a communication conflict. Conflicts also could arouse from financial issues. One spouse has a separate bank account, or the other spouse actually is misusing the funds, or misapplying or misappropriating funds of the family. then they could raise that kind of conflict. Then there could be conflicts that are child-related, where uh, one the style of one spouse of parenting is being criticized by the other style of another. They do not agree on the style of parenting, or actually one spouse is taking side with the child and the other is against. So you find it is the child and one spouse against the other spouse. Then there's a conflict that has been, caused by the child. Uh, Other conflicts could arise from family dynamics. You don't like the people of my side, I don't like the people of your side, or the people of your side are so dominant here in this family. You see, you're spending so much on this. You are, So family dynamics. Oh, my father doesn't like you, or oh, I think your mother doesn't like me. And then how could you say such a thing about my mother? How could family dynamics? Family dynamics. Conflicts could arise from unmet expectations. I thought that by this and this time we could be here. You did not deliver on your promises. There could be a number of issues arising from those unmet expectations. And then conflicts arise between spouses in that sense. And the other issue also could be uh, varying or differing belief systems and values. Conflicts could arise from that area where I go to this church, I go to this belief system, I don't like your religion, I don't like your pastor, and then just because your spouse doesn't like your pastor, then they don't like your belief system, they don't like your God, and then there's some boiling blood between the two. Conflicts could arise from our psychological past. As a child, I was raised like this, and then those features and those issues arise and manifest after we are married. I want you to treat me like my mother treated me, then you treatment. Then in marriage, because we normally want to maintain peace, there are many issues that we do not resolve, but we cover them, we sugarcoat them, we cover them with various blankets of psychology. And then when those issues pile up, that heap manifests and then starts heating up. And then we have a conflict between us, but we are not clear what it is about. So we find ourselves as spouses conflicting and fighting and disagreeing, but we cannot clearly point to this and this. We are fighting because of this and this, but there's bad blood between us. There's bad blood between us. So then that's how you tell that you guys are struggling with certain unresolved issues that have piled up. And because whenever you pile things, they heat up, they are creating that heat. So you're feeling that environment, and they have created some kind of negativity, and that negativity cannot actually be described and defined, but there's a conflict between you. So there could even be other issues where conflicts arise, and why spouses fight. People will share their experiences, and then we will get to that. So those are the spousal conflicts. And then what are the common causes of these conflicts? Well, I think one of the major causes of this conflict is us, the spouses. That is the major and the primary cause of these conflicts. It is ironic to say that it is spouses as the primary cause of conflicts between them, because anything against both of you, you have a joint army to fight it. But when you're fighting each other, then that demonstrates that the cause of the conflict between you is actually one of you or both of you. But the latter is likely to be the reason. So look at that also. And then is there a time to fight? And if there is, how are spouses to fight? Well, uh, optimists like my brother Jethro will say, "Ah, why fight?" We we were discussing in our meeting where we organized these issues, and then he was actually contending, why are we using the term fight? And I was like, because it is reality. There is no I disagree. Why should spouses fight? But fighting does not have to be physical, okay? It could be a verbal fight. It could be a cold war. You're fighting. You're fighting. It could be a cold war. It could even be physical. Yes. It could be through proxies like children and relatives. So the question is, how should spouses fight if they are to fight? I think this is a very, very crucial question for us to respond to. How should they fight if they are to fight? In fact, people who are willing actually will give us their approach to fighting, how they fight, and why they fight the way they fight, etc. Then the other question is, what is the cost of these conflicts? Well, the cost of this conflict is that these conflicts can even cost you your marriage, but that is not as important as these conflicts costing you your relationship. And I normally emphasize this, that there's a difference between your marriage and your relationship with your spouse. You could have a marriage with your spouse and not have a relationship therefore. And I just need to be mature here and a little bit radical and remind the marriage that just because there is no relationship does not mean that the marriage also should die. That's also very important to note. And you are blessed if you have both, if you have a relationship with your spouse and you have the added advantage of a marriage. But these conflicts can cost you both of those. These conflicts can cost you your life, okay? Your life, they can, and your peace. They can cost you your mental state, these conflicts, if you are not careful. They can cost you financially and in property. These conflicts can cost you that far. They can even cost you your health. I hope there's a difference between that and life. If you understand, if you know, you know. So finally, how should spouses now deal with these conflicts, especially Christians? How should we go about these conflicts? How should we deal with this? You're welcome. The floor is open. I have given you an introduction. I hope it is useful. I hope it has enlightened each and every one of you. I welcome the two ladies on the call. Marion, I hope this is my Marion. And my very own Abby, you're welcome. And of course, the 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 men who are always the majority in these meetings, you are all welcome. So, gentlemen, the floor is open. If there is anyone who would like to, if there is anyone who would like to say something, this is your time. This is where you come in and share your views. Your microphone is on, Pedson. Do you want to say something?
Hey,
Mm. Or you didn't know
hey,
it was
hello?
on?
Hey, no,
Yes,
I didn't know that it was on, but I thank you
mm,
for the preamble.
yes.
I, it's a very challenging thing, and
Yeah.
not only in marriages, but conflict. Actually, in when you business studies, it's under organizational behavior. It's a whole module, conflict
Okay.
resolution.
Yes.
So when two people are together working on something, or there's something that is uniting them, that's work or marriage,
Yes.
there conflict arises.
Mm.
And I think for you, give us your angle
Mm.
of sin. Eh?
Yes.
uh Now,
Mm.
about resolving conflicts, because you've stated all the causes where it comes
Mm.
from, and I don't think there's something that we can really add much. But me, I want to go on conflict resolving.
Yes.
And my theory and my idea is that whenever you have a disagreement that is between in marriage, I think it's always better you try as much as possible to first resolve that conflict internally. Because there are sometimes when something is very small, and then the one spouse wants to run to a third party for arbitration, and usually that escalates the issue
The
that was
conflict.
small, and it even makes it bigger because now you get other people to bring in their ideas. Ladies are, hey, no, that one you cannot. For example, if there's infidelity, if maybe a guy was cheating, and the lady was willing to forgive, but then when she goes and asks a friend, then she's like, how, eh?
A
That's
cheating man does not change. He will cheat again. A cheater, once a cheater, always a cheater.
So
Yes.
the biasness. Now, me, I advocate for if it's an issue that maybe if it can first be handled by two individuals, because
Okay.
after all, the people that you're also going to ask are not God. They are
No.
also fellow human beings who are going to give you what they think about the issue. So
Yes.
that's what I can. But I'm also going to learn from other people on this one.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Actually, what you've just told us is that uh, we should be careful as spouses not to conflict an existing conflict.
Mm,
And
mm,
and what we mean by that is that you can multiply and grow your conflict by involving in unnecessary parties.
yes,
That is
yes.
one. Number two, what you have helped us understand, and others will come and add on, is that whenever there is a conflict, they are responsible parties.
Mm,
And we have to be very careful with who are the players in this conflict
mm,
now at its initial stage. And if a conflict has stages, who are the players at each and every stage of that conflict. But the primary players that should start within a spousal conflict are the spouses themselves. So it has to start as an internal business.
mm,
We don't know for how long, or we also need to find out, is it every conflict that should start at the internal level with the spouses themselves, or there are some conflicts that should involve third parties immediately, or or there are some conflicts that or all conflicts should start with the primary players, that those are the two spouses, the man and his wife. I think that's very important. You raise very, very, very crucial issues here. Uh, Abby, I will need you today. So please prepare as Arion comes. Abby, I will need you. I don't know how you are, but I really, really need you, Abby, today. Yes, Arion, my elder brother, are you okay?
Yes, I am fine but tired. I'm in transit from
Yeah,
Bende back.
it is normal. It is normal to be tired. You're a human being. That's very normal.
Yes, I need help before I can give any input if I need to
Yes.
be useful.
Mm.
Or what is a spouse?
What
Once you
is?
help me, who is a spouse
Yes.
or what is a spouse?
Oh,
Once I'm then I'll come
mm.
in.
Okay, thank you very much. We had attempted in our introduction to define who or what is a spouse, and any other person who wants to contribute, just through an AB, I will need you today. I will need you because Jethro normally tunes in the radio, and yet he has very, very productive ideas. So yes, my Marion, do you want to give us a definition of who a spouse is?
I want wanted also to contribute a little bit.
To contribute a little bit.
Now I wanted to talk about it. Yes. Otherwise,
Okay.
good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
One of the aspects, I think I had written it in the chat, whereby
Yes.
the difference in reasoning or how we
Yes.
perceive the different aspects in our lives
Okay.
with the
Yes.
partners. What I
There
look
you
at something is good, and then the other one looks it at bad. I think it is
Yes.
in relation with culture. When
Yes.
we intermarry, and then what you find funny on the other person's culture, for you it is okay.
Okay. So
Yes, that could also be one of
so
the conflicts.
okay.
Even
So
considering the level of education for each and
your net your network
every
your
the
network is
partner you
speaking.
have
Okay. Okay.
also
Okay.
can be.
Yes. Thank you, Mariam. Your network is
Can
squeaking.
you
Do you
hear me
mind?
now?
Yes, I can hear you there. Oh,
I
you.
was saying, even given the difference in level of education,
Okay, levels of education. Okay, sure.
yes, so you tend to reason differently, and then have different difference in thinking.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much. I thank you, Marion. Thank you so much. Work on your network, because I think you have very good ideas, but your network was squeaking, and then we struggled to hear you at a certain point. But you've made your points. First, you said that spouses must understand that once they are conflicted at the cultural level, they are likely to have a conflict in perception because of these cultures, because they are already conflicted at culture. That does not necessarily mean that you shouldn't marry from outside your culture, as long as you are not conflicted. As long as you're not conflicted. And what we mean by conflicting at a cultural level is there are some cultures that don't like some culture or other cultures. You better be sure that you like the other culture, even though you are this culture, before you marry from that culture, because marriage is about annoying each other. And every time someone annoys you by a mistake they have done, and then you don't look at the mistake, but you look at that mistake in the entire scope of the culture, of someone's culture, then you've created a cultural conflict there, and you're no longer looking at the mistake, but you're looking at their culture. Then, Marion, you also raised another important issue of levels of education, and it is advisable that you marry someone who is as exposed academically as you are, so that you can speak the same language, or if you spoke and you communicated ideas from the background of your education, the one who is less educated will not assume that you're bragging, and then the inferiority complex will kick in, and then you are conflicted because one is inferior academically, and then the other is superior academically. So you are conflicted because every time you use a certain language, you are bragging, you are conflicted because they can't afford you. They just can't afford you. And I guess this is where the counselors need to come in, the Davis Wasajas and the Brendas. This is where they need to come in, and the pastors, to train and heal some spouses from the inferiority. I still think that you can marry someone who is more educated than you, and you don't conflict at that level if you are actually educated to understand that they are more educated than you are, and get to know how to live with it. Yes, Peterson, your hand is up.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
actually, for that point that she raised, that's where I was going to. My why I disagree with her is when we go back to our traditional setting, a man in a home was a man. In terms of superiority, and a woman was subdued, like a woman was subdued and a man was a man, like he was a king. So in such instances, they used to say that omukuru tasovya,
Yes.
like the boss cannot go wrong, cannot make any mistake. And
Yes.
in such a relationship, there's really the conflict may not be there because of how the setup was culturally. And when you have someone who is superior to that extent, then this one is inferior. Then that means there's literally no conflict. For example, you cannot find a child. No, now okay, now things have actually changed. A child is conflicting with his father and is beefing, and he has actually ended up running away from. He has actually, but of course now they have come. But previously, because of that arrangement, how it was, of how we had been structured, the dominance of the male being, it brought in some sanity. That's why our grandmothers managed to get married for 80 years. They're in marriage, they're not going. It doesn't mean that our grandfathers were not making mistakes. It doesn't mean that, but somehow the system could not even allow a conflict. If a man has made a mistake, it is a man, there's nothing that you can say about that mistake. And you move on, and life was actually really good. And when you look at most cultures, you find that that's not only in Africa, most cultures actually like that. A man has his position and the woman has his position. But of course, with things changing, now we have a movement of where a woman is supposed to be equal as a man. So they look, but they even scratch our beards. So that means that now we have two equals, and their conflict is going to what is going. So now the question is, if now we have two equals, meaning that now conflict, no one is dominating the other, then does it still make sense, that thing of till death do us part? Or we enter into these agreements so that whenever there is a conflict, instead of waiting to kill someone, then you'd rather walk out.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. It's getting interested, but we don't have time. Now, I want to attempt the question of Ariong, and then I will invite either Jethro or AB to come and say something. Ariong, we had defined a spouse as a man and a woman in a loving relationship who have registered that loving relationship legally, and it has now qualified as marriage. So that's how we have defined a spouse in this discussion: a man and a woman. Okay, a man or a woman. We do not believe in a woman and a woman as spouses. We also do not believe that a man and a man can be spouses, because that kind of sameness has already conflicted what we call a relationship, because things that look alike cannot relate. A relationship is only possible between different beings. So wherever there is difference, their relationship is possible. But wherever there is sameness, there is no relationship. It is one and the same. So that is the basic ideology. So what we mean by spouses here, who is a spouse or what is a spouse, is a man and a woman in a loving or intimate relationship that has been registered legally or publicly. So that's what we mean by spouse, And what we mean by legally and publicly, we mean that the stakeholders of that relationship have been informed, and they are all right with that with that relationship. Those stakeholders could range from biological parents, the two sets, and the law that governs the land wherever you are. So that's what we meant by spouses or spouse. I hope that will facilitate your worldview as you come in. Jet, are you there? Can you speak? Chairman? Hey, he normally switches on as soon as he's called, but I guess he's not around. Jethro, can you hear us? All right, we can't. Maybe he can't. Okay, Abby, can you talk? Do you want to share anything with us?
No, today let me listen because
Really?
the issues concerning spouses.
No. I know
Eh,
you know so much, really. You give us your world. Yes.
no, today let me listen and give my microphone to. Is Petson still on?
Yes, person is still around.
Yes, let me give it to Petson because he's much more experienced in those matters. You
Oh,
inclusive. Mm.
okay.
Yeah, I've finished my part.
Okay. Tom, do you want to come back? Ariong, are you there?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the definition you gave me. Though I feel it falls short because what we are discussing involves couples that have joined together either in love or in intimacy, much as their relationships have not been registered anywhere. Those are the people who are boy and girlfriend, people who are cohabiting and met on the street or met at school and decided that they love each other and they're going to get involved in a loving, intimate relationship. That aside, I think majorly we conflict in relationships because there are things we underlook. There are things we take for granted. When a man and a woman come together to relate, first of all, they are different. Biologically, they are different in roles. They are different in various ways. But when we come together, we seem to forget those differences. Those differences are not a thing that of inferior or superiority. No, they are things that are a result of our difference in the roles. If you looked at our forefathers, there must have been conflicts that are there now, and what we call subduing women, what we call chauvinism or whatever, was a way of resolving these conflicts. Take, for instance, the case of Uganda. We drive on the left-hand side, and that is within the law because it is a measure of resolving conflicts on the road. So I think in couples and spouses, we would do better if we stuck to our roles as a couple and understood what we are and who our spouses are. I think that would go a long way in resolving this conflict. Okay. What really baffles me is people who are good at conflict resolution in other areas of life have this much failed in resolving similar conflicts under spousal arrangement. I had Pedson discuss when in his discussion he mentioned conflict resolution at work, where we have experts who help us resolve conflicts at work. By the way, those experts, in most cases, have failed to resolve conflicts in their own houses with their spouses. Why? I am yet to understand why. Maybe I will help here. I think I should first of all hear and listen. Thank you.
Okay, brilliant, brilliant. Yes. Good. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ariong. You have re-echoed something that Tembana had hinted on, and I think we should talk about it before we go to your other points. And that thing is the role of power in conflict resolution between spouses. How should we utilize power, the power dynamics, to safeguard ourselves against conflicts, to resolve conflicts when they are already here with us? How should we look at these power dynamics? Because you guys give an example of our fathers and our grandmothers, that for them they decided that we give all the power to the man, and the woman is subdued, and therefore would have curbed the conflicts. Where we might argue that it worked, but I think it would be safe if we said that it worked to a certain extent. For somehow, somewhere, women did things in that subdued state, which actually were manipulative to the authoritative men of then. And in one way or another, those women who looked to be under total submission exercised a certain kind of power and manipulation and influence on these so-called powerful patriarchal men. For instance, in a scenario when it came to who is going to be the heir of the family, you can see how women, you see, in one way or another, outplayed the authority and the power subjugation of their men. And women got their way, actually running, and eventually they even created conflicts because of how they exercised their power in that. I'll give you an example of in the literature of the Bible, where Isaac is the head of the family, the most powerful figure there. He decides who is going to be the heir, and he knows who is going to be the heir. But the subdued woman, wife Rebecca, also has a preference of who should be the heir. And for those of you who read the Bible, do understand what this woman did. What this woman did, because she manipulated the entire process, and the one who was to become the heir didn't become. The one she wanted to become the heir became. And there was conflict between actually them. Between them, and by them I mean Isaac and Rebecca. After Isaac realized that his wife had capitalized on his blindness or poor sight, and switched the heirs of the family. So let us not assume that women being dominated and subdued in the patriarchal societies, that actually resolved and protected and prevented conflicts, spousal conflicts. There were still conflicts. There were still conflicts. So how should we deal with this power concept within spouses? How should we work with these power dynamics in the event of conflicts? Should the man roar and that will resolve the conflict? For instance, some men decide to strangle their women and beat them up, they beat them to pulp, and then the women are kept under fear, constant fear, and then men assume that they have resolved the conflict because women are afraid. And what women do normally, they run to pastors, run to witch doctors, because they are they have a conflict, but they are afraid to speak out, and therefore they also look for other means. And then the men have roared and beaten them into submission. And then we assume that we have resolved a conflict because we have been aggressive and we have exercised our aggression on the inferior, which I think hasn't actually been effective or efficient in that manner. But how should power play? How should power play in the event of a conflict? Are women powerless, therefore? Any person wants to come in? Today has been a very difficult day.
You can't say men are powerless, really.
Yes.
Because if they were powerless, then the power of men will have no seat, no platform on which to exercise the power.
Okay.
So I think, and by the way, there would be no conflict if they were without powerless. I'm just responding to your question.
Yes, thank you. So therefore, women are not powerless. Women have some power, if not even more power than men in our homes today. If men will be honest to confess, they will actually.
Actually, women are more powerful than men are. Women
Exactly.
have an upper hand in this power play.
Yes.
Than men are.
Yes. Don't you think that has caused more conflicts to spouses than it would have been if men were more powerful? Or should we actually even think who should be more powerful, or should we think equality? What do we mean by equality? How should we manage power in spouse? Because we have seen power as one of the sources of these conflicts. I guess that is my question that we need to think about. Okay. Good. Marion, can you say something? Marion, is your network all right now?
Yeah, I would love to say something like with men, they would be having more power. That is if they were like women, because women are capable of supervising several activities in a home than men do. For example, they will get to understand that this child behaves this way. They will counsel the children after getting conflicts. They will understand that so and so entered into our piece of land. Somebody like this happened at work. So you feel like they multitask than men. That's where issues come. And for a man, he's always looking around for money and trying to concentrate, and therefore doesn't take so much of his time to take care of the home and resolve issues. I submit.
Okay, thank you very much. So, yes,
moderator.
Yes.
I also want to understand that point where yes, women had power, but how was that power good enough to cause conflict? Because yes, we are seeing their power, and but we see that their power is some power of now, like the example you've given of Rebecca. There's another power of Bathsheba holding David by his balls and telling him that you have to make my son a king. Their power is coercive, so not persuasive, and
it was through proxies.
But the conflict, the power that causes conflict is where David does something, then Bathsheba comes and confronts him. How can you do this? Tomorrow I'm divorcing you. In the ancient cultures, did those guys have that power? Did the women have that power?
But you are giving an example who is ancient. An ancient woman stood against the whole king. So,
and he was holding him by the balls at night in the bed.
Exactly.
Before I give you, Please sign here that Solomon will be the king.
Now, some women had that power. In ancient times, they had that power. Now, you are a historian. You know the Muganzi was the story.
Yes.
Yes. So women had that power, and those power dynamics caused the conflicts.
Just to add on, even the story of Sarah and the maid Hagar.
Chase the maid and her child. And Abraham had nothing to do. And yet it was again Sarah who told Abraham, you sleep with the maid and then she gives me a son.
Samson and that lady.
And Delilah. So men exercise power differently and women exercise power differently. And that can cause conflicts. That's what we are discussing. That's what we are looking at. So it is, the Western world has always accused our patriarchal societies that men were dominant and abusing women. Therefore, we have a feminist movement. But that's not true. The African women were actually more powerful. There is no time when women were dominated and oppressed, like the Western world want to paint our cultures, really. No, it wasn't there in our history. African women have always been powerful. The problem is that the Western world has abused them, and now they're not even more powerful. They are no longer more powerful. And when you demonstrate it to them, they say that you are bashing them, you are against women, you are insulting them, you are objectifying them. But I'm not the one objectifying women. It is this generation, this feminist movement that is objectifying women by telling them that they can be independent of men. What a man can do, a woman can do. These things have caused the conflicts. In our generation now, we are not marrying women. We are marrying fellow men in skirts, which is absurd. And women are defending are fighting against their rights. And they are the very people who are against actually their rights, not men. Men are not against the rights of women. We just have to define these rights. So we find ourselves into these conflicts because of these misrepresented ideologies, misrepresented and distorted history. So we have failed to understand where we are coming from, and we assume to know where we are and to actually anticipate where we are going. And we have totally conflicted. So eventually, women are single mothers in apartments, men are single fathers in their houses, also in apartments. Men are now called by women for booty calls, and men are also calling women. So we are conflicted, but it is because we got lost somewhere. Men lost their identity, knowing who they are, and then women also lost themselves, knowing who they are. And then we get married, and then you are in marriage with someone who doesn't actually appreciate themselves as a woman, and you're with someone who doesn't actually appreciate themselves as a man. Then you are conflicted at that level of identity, and this really causes problem. So when the power dynamics come in, we are doomed. Yes, Ariong, you wanted to say something?
I would like to make some illustration. I'm not going political, but allow me to use the government of Uganda and our president, and the commander of the CDF.
Mr. Pio, whatever you say, know that it's recorded.
No. Bedison, I desist from scaring me because I am trying to drive a point.
No, I'm just questioning you. I'm just questioning you.
Moderator, protect me from that in which ways?
Okay, continue. But you got the information.
I am saying is the president of Uganda has the authority and powers in Uganda as by the constitution to order army and the CDF to do whatever they will do. But the commander-in-chief, who is the president, does not hold the gun. He does not drive the MiG and jets of Uganda. He does not do crowd control, but he has powers. Now, when in Africa here and to us men, the women are the like of the president here, and we are the like of the army or the CDF. When a man goes out, like I'm from Movende, I've gone out and I am coming back to my house, where my wife is the commander-in-chief. Actually, I am not comfortable elsewhere but before my wife and family. So if me as the CDF decides to sit home and allow my wife to do the roles of CDF, there will be a lot of conflict which may not be resolved. Because if the president of the Republic of Uganda started to do crowd control in Uganda, then he will be abusing his office first of all. He will also be overstepping what the CDF does and the subordinates under the CDF. That's my last question.
Thank you so much. Good. Then Ariongo had also asked another interesting question that we need to look at. How come that we can easily resolve conflicts at our workspaces, and then we fail resolving conflicts at home with our spouses? Why is it easy for you to resolve a conflict between you and a friend or a workmate, but it is not easy for you to resolve a conflict between you and your spouse? Why? Okay. I think one of yes. You want to add on your question?
Simplistically answering,
yes.
at my workplace, I recognize and know who is above me and who is below me, and those power centers and have a clear cut demarcation where I have the supervisor or I am the supervisor, and whoever I am supervising, when we are conflicting, we have a point of reference. We have literature, we have a code on which to refer. Now in spousal or marital or love relationships, we seem to disregard the code, which says when a man who's a woman, he is looking for the woman in that woman, and we seem to think the man is looking for a partner in that woman. So I think partly the reason as why is that we resolve conflicts at our places is because of recognition of our roles and responsibilities at our workplaces, and failure to recognize our own responsibilities in our relationships.
Okay. I find that argument falling under again power, because at our places we know our place and the power that we can assert. Conflicts and what we are about to lose, the conflicts are easy. So so that is power, and then the carrot and stick thing. So why don't we have that same recognition at home? Why don't you recognize your man as your man, and then recognize as your this woman as your wife? Have that kind of mutual respect, that recognition, and then resolve the conflict under those terms. Is it because at a spousal level we exercise too much familiarity and less respect? That's why we fail to resolve some conflicts. Is it because we despise each other? Is it because we have we take for granted our spouse? Do we have so I guess you have actually demonstrated to me, and I'm not trying to to digress from your concept, but I think to me, is it an attitude issue? How do you look at your spouse? What is your attitude towards your spouse? Because attitude is very crucial here in resolving conflict. What is the attitude that you hold against your spouse? What is that attitude? How do you see him? How do you see her? What's your attitude? Jethro, can you talk? Are you back? Can you hear us at least? Yeah. Okay, fine. So so I think one of the reasons why we resolve conflicts with strangers and fail to resolve it with our spouses is attitude, number one. Number two, have we have we looked at excuse me, have we looked at the issue of emotions? Personally, I think one of the reasons why conflicts fail to be resolved between spouses is the rampant emotionalism. It is like whenever we are conflicted with our spouses, logic flees and professionalism flees from all windows and open doors. And what we exuding in this conflict is emotionalism. For the wife, instead of speaking and communicating the problem, they are all tears, they are crying, they are just crying. Then for some men, they are silent, they are not talking, they are not even eating. Because they are within a conflict. A woman cooks and this man can't eat. All these are symbolic emotions being manifested and thrown all around. I can't eat your food. Then a woman prepares a shirt and a trouser that you have to put on. You don't put it on. You choose another set of clothes and you leave the others she prepared there. So instead of dealing with the conflict head on and facing it and talking about it, actually opening up, we are just demonstrating and throwing emotions left, right, and center. So I think lack of professionalism and the total expression of emotionalism. This also fires and fuels conflicts between us and our spouses. Because I don't know, maybe since this is an intimate relationship, for some reason we can't take away emotions. But I think it matters that when we are dealing and we want to resolve conflicts, to manage our emotional world, okay? To try as much as we can, especially women. I'm not saying that women are the most emotional parties in conflicts, but I'm saying because even in their wiring, emotions take precedence. I think it is very important to sit with yourself and manage these emotions so that we can reach to a resolution of this conflict. Because when we go emotional, the wife is just crying and the man is asking a very interesting question. Now, why are you crying? Stop crying. So I think one of the reasons why conflicts fail to be resolved between spouses is the emotional exhibition, the excessive emotional exhibition also interrupts the process of recovering from a conflict. Now, unfortunately, our time is up. But now let's look at the practical ways now of resolving those conflicts. Let me see how much time we have. We have 3 minutes. Okay. Any person with a practical approach on how we can resolve these conflicts between spouses? If there is no one, with one, I can go ahead and then we call it a day. Today was a very difficult day, I guess, because the usual culprits are not here. Those who are here are listeners, but that's okay. That's really okay. We had a good time. Any person wants to say something before we continue? Okay, I guess not. But yes, Marion. Oh, your network is not good. Your network. Go back to where you are.
One personality.
Your network is not good, Marion. Your network is not good. Okay. Okay. Her network wasn't all right. Yes, Pedson. Practical ways now. We are winding up.
Yeah. Let me give one.
Yes.
Is accept.
What?
Accept.
Yes, accept.
And move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Concede. Okay. Concede. Like
Yes.
in case there's a problem, concede this has happened, move on, and
Okay.
that is history. Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Let go. Okay. Finally, I think Petson, you have actually helped us, but let's go from this angle. The number one thing, the foundation of resolving conflicts between spouses is to do a checkup on your love. You should do that checkup, and that checkup should be personal. For instance, you should be asking, do I still really love this person? Do I love this person? Because if you start from that foundation of how you feel about them, and you find out that you are positive about about your feelings to them, then that is a very, very good foundation of conflict resolution. Do you really still love this person, your spouse? If the answer is yes, you are good to go. If the answer is I don't know, I am not sure again, and it's not anger speaking, it's the sober you speaking, then you need to be worried, because that foundation of love is going to participate largely in a conflict resolution. Excuse me. That's number two. In every conflict resolution between spouses, you have to try as much as you can to deny yourself. To deny yourself. There is no conflict that is going to be resolved if you want to win. A conflict cannot be resolved between spouses if there is a loser and a winner. So the best way to come up with what the secular world would call a win-win resolution of a conflict should start from the point where you are willing to lose. And I think this is what Peterson called accept. I guess Peterson, I'm not misrepresenting you. You have to deny self, because normally it is in our fallen sinful DNA to be selfish. But until you deny self, a conflict will not be resolved. There must be a loser for a conflict to be resolved. And please choose to be one. And I'm not speaking to a man alone, I'm speaking to a woman. You have to find yourself at a position where you have all chosen to lose. Your desires, your whatever, your rights, whatever, but make sure, deny self. Deny self if you are to resolve a conflict. But if you are not going to deny self, then there is no way you can there's no way you're going to resolve that conflict. It's going to go on, it's going to stall, and it will mature and be pregnant and have babies, and you lose the most important things. Then finally, in conflict resolution between spouses, I think you have to exercise and nurture an attitude, a specific attitude for conflict resolution. How do you look at each other? How do you perceive them? Because normally things fail at the tone of your voice in a conflict. The body language, within a conflict. All these communicate attitudes. Okay, the facial expressions, you the gestures, all these things communicate attitude. How do you look at your spouse? How do you address them? The attitude is a very crucial thing in a conflict resolution. I'll give you an example. There was a meeting between Trump and Zelensky. For those of you who follow global politics, Trump and Zelensky and his deputy president in the United States, that's Vance. When you look at the body language of Zelensky, let me start with Zelensky, and you look at how he's looking, his facial expression, the way he was moving his face and his eyes, and how he was rolling his eyes. The attitude was not good. But again, also, when you look at Trump and Vance also, and you look at their body language and everything, the attitude was bad. So, so they couldn't resolve that conflict between them. So such things happen in spousal relationships, and things fall apart, and then we end up not achieving what we should have achieved. So, gentlemen, that is it. I would like to thank each and every one of you who attended. It's good to have you around. We are here every week, twice a week, every Monday from 6 to 8, and every Thursday from 6 to 8 again. We want to thank each and every one of you who participated in our discussion today. May God bless you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Right. Blessing. Bye.